Hello,
Hi, everyone.
I'm Nathan Wildman,
And I'm Michael Cohen.
and this is a sort of course overview introduction for your course Logic. We thought we would just tell you a little bit about the structure of the course, how assessment's going to go, and things like that. So, here are the course learning goals. We're definitely not going to read these out to you, but if you're interested, you can pause the video and look at them. The long and the short of it is we're going to work on two formal languages, truth functional and first order logic. And these are tools to help us sort of synthesize and evaluate good reasoning. So, how are we going to actually do it practicality wise? Well, there's two parts to the course. There's lectures, which are in person on Mondays, usually from 12:45 to 2:30. We'll also be making recordings, so if you can't make it, you can watch these. But again, we strongly encourage you to attend in person. And then, kind of even more important than the lectures, there are weekly tutorials. These are Wednesday afternoons. And really, this is where we're going to do most of the work. We're going to work through homework, be able to actually address your questions, kind of focus in on a bunch of these formal tools that we're going to be working with and on. It's worth stressing that while the timing is pretty much fixed, there's not any days, I think, that stuff moves around. The actual rooms for the lectures and the tutorials do occasionally change, so please do check your calendar as the semester rolls along. Okay, and of course, the thing you're probably most worried about, how are we going to do the assessment? How are you going to get your grade? Well, there's three parts to the course. There's weekly assignments, effectively homework. There's a midterm exam, and there's a final exam. And these are divided up into points. So overall, there's 100 points going. Your grade is going to be your score out of 100, basically. There's 20 possible points for the homework assignments, 40 points for the midterm, 40 points for the final exam. To pass the class, the minimum to pass is 55 points. If you have 55 or above, hey, cool, you're done with logic. Now, importantly, we don't really care where the points come from. That is, there's no minimum score for any mode of assessment. You could get 20 points on assignments, do all the homework. You can get 20 points in the midterm and 20 points in the final. 60 points, bang, you've got 60, you get a 6 for the course. We'll talk more about this as we kind of roll along, but this is the real important thing here. There's no particular score that's required other than just 55 points or more overall. So let's talk about the homework a little bit. Right? The homework assignments are weekly. They're in the Canvas Assignments tab. For these, you'll receive a score of either 0, 1, or 2 points. 2 meaning you've done everything right. You answered all the questions. 1, you didn't answer all the questions, you didn't quite do everything. Or 0, you just didn't turn it in. Importantly, the homework assignments are exercises from our textbooks. And not just what we're asking you to do isn't just answering the questions, but we want you to self-correct them. So we've given you not just the questions, but also solutions to the questions. And the important thing here isn't us trying to, be lazy or anything like that. Actually, it's really just that that's the best way to learn a lot of this stuff is to do the questions, check the answers, see, all right, did I get this right? Did I get it wrong? What kind of went wrong? Right? And then there's time for us to talk about it in the tutorials. So again, that's really what we're kind of asking you to do with these homework assignments. Importantly here, there's more than 10 homework assignments, but we're going to take just your top 10 best scores. So that means that, right, if you do 10 homework assignments out of, I think there's 13, 12. So if you just do 10, right, cool, you get full homework points. Again, something we can kind of clarify as the year goes along, but we hope that that's reasonably
clear. And in terms of the exams, there are two exams of the course: the midterm exam covering the first block and the final exam covering the entire course. And the exams will look very similar to the types of questions you see in the homework. The midterms will cover the materials from lecture 1 to lecture 7, things like true functional logic, logic symbolization, truth tables, and so on. And the final on lectures 8 to 14, natural deduction proofs, model logic proofs, models. We should emphasize that all these things are connected, so bear that in mind, the parts from the final and the midterm. The date for the midterms is the 18th of October.
Well, I think these are wrong, but the dates are TBA. We'll let you know as soon as we know those, to be clear.
Our bad. We will update you on this.
And again, the thing to emphasize here with both of these exams, they're on the separate sections. So the midterm is on the first half, the final exam is on the second half. But in order to really be able to do the stuff that's in the final, you need to have a pretty good grasp on the material that's in the first half.
We are building on these topics.
It's all building.
And you will have exercise exams available on the course website.
Absolutely. In the exact same format, of the exact same length. So you'll have plenty of practice. We also have reserved review lectures. Lecture 7 is a review. Lecture 14 is a review to prepare you for the exams.
And likewise for those the tutorial weeks in those weeks.
Exactly. Cool. So that's really the assessment formats. Again, we'll kind of talk more about these as the year rolls along, and we'll get back to you with the specific dates here because these are obviously wrong. But we'll update you about the midterm and the final exam once those are clearer.
So in terms of the way we divide the course, I will be teaching the first block, weeks 1 to 7, and we're going to focus on 2 formal languages or 2 logics. One is called true functional logic, the other one first order logic. The first one is easier, the second one builds on the first one and is a bit harder and more interesting. The second part Nathan will do.
And here what we're going to try and do is build on the stuff that we've learned by kind of extending our formal logic toolkit. So we're going to talk a little bit about set theory, which is a foundational conception of much of modern mathematics, and really kind of underpins or is tightly related to first order logic. Then we'll kind of develop another way to think about logical systems by what we'll call natural deduction, so building proof systems. Then we'll move on to kind of other formal tools. So we'll think a little bit about probability and inductive logic. We'll talk about modal logic, which is how we approach questions of how things could or must be. And we'll wrap up by thinking a little bit about how to actually approach logical systems from a very broad philosophical angle. That is, settling which logics we think are the best for particular situations, or what does it even mean to adopt a logic. So again, the idea is to start really incrementally, get ourselves very skilled with using some formal systems, extend those formal systems a little bit, and then finally at the end, think a bit about how we might approach these topics in a very broad philosophical way. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
We really like this.
Yeah, it's good, actually. Yeah, I think this is the second year running that we've done it together. It's a fun course.
Yeah.
But maybe just to kind of wrap up, some brief practicalities again. The first thing to say is that if you have any accessibility issues, please let us know as soon as possible. Note this can be problems getting to the lectures and tutorials. This can be having difficulties reading some symbols, whatever you like, right? Just let us know. We will figure out a way to kind of work around it, make this work. The second thing to say is, put really bluntly, formal logic can be very hard. Right? And that's okay, right? Because hard things can be kind of fun. We really want to stress, though, if you're struggling, if you're finding it difficult, don't be discouraged, right? We're in this together. We're going to work through it as a group, right?
And the course is really designed to help you pass in terms of the assignments and the preparation from the midterms and the final and the tutorials. We're really here to help you pass the course. It's really like a course that is designed for that.
And in terms of the motivation here, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about this in the first lecture, but it is really that what we're doing and what we're talking about here underpins so much of good philosophy. Because what we're interested in is figuring out what is it for an argument to be good, right? What are good reasons for believing certain things? And if you're interested in that kind of stuff, logic should be interesting for you, right? It might not necessarily immediately appear that way, but again, remember that that's the thing that's underpinning everything that we're doing. And yeah, the last thing to say is logic can be really fun, actually. Yeah. And it's kind of weird and silly, but like many things, stuff that's weird and silly is fun and rewarding. You just have to put the work in.
Yeah, it's probably going to be new for you, and just come with an open mind for this new topic. This is my suggestion.
Yeah. So that's basically what we wanted to talk about here.
So next time we have our first proper class on Monday, the 25th of August. And we'll do more introduction and background to logic. We'll talk a little bit about what is logic, why do we study it. We will focus on the concept of validity. We'll introduce it, but don't worry, we will focus on this topic for a while to understand it. And we'll talk a bit about symbolizing in logic. For that, please read our textbook for all X, pages 1 to 14. This is accessible on Canvas.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much. And yeah, look forward to seeing you on the 25th of August.
Yeah. Bye.